Hello there and welcome to our nightly news program. I'm your host, Karim Zachary, bringing you the latest updates from around the world in today's headlines. Zionist forces' second day of raids in Jenin leaves destruction and death in its wake. 10 dead and 100 injured as bulldozers plow through the streets. Also coming up, President Abdelmadjid Tebboune addresses the nation on Independence and Youth Day, praising youth's involvement in a new era. Also ahead in our news, Russian defense say forces successfully repel Ukrainian drone attacks on Moscow. And Shanghai Cooperation Organization member states are to forge stronger ties and put forward initiatives. Hello again and welcome to the program. First off in our news, Jenin is still under siege, leaving many casualties behind. Zionist forces intensify their raids, leaving destruction and casualties. 100 people lost their lives and 100 others were injured. Let's delve into details with Usama Ayati.
In a desperate bid for safety, Palestinian families flee their homes clutching their terrified children. The displacement crisis has affected 3,000 Palestinians in the northern part of the occupied West Bank, and the scale of the Zionist assault has left the community reeling.
We came here. They let us leave our houses. Someone used the ambulance headphones and told us to leave the houses as the Jews were standing near the ambulance, and they knew that we have to leave.
United in their outrage, Palestinians across the country have taken to the street, vehemently rejecting the ongoing killings perpetrated by the occupiers. In a powerful show of solidarity, residents of Al-Quds have declared a strike, shutting down shops and rendering certain streets completely empty, while the voices demanding justice grow louder.
The reason for our strike is what is happening in Jenin. They won't accept any intruders, whether they were close or strangers. We all denounce what is happening.
The Jenin camp lies at the epicenter of escalating violence across the West Bank, which has triggered numerous waves of unrest in recent years. The army raids have become disturbingly routine, while deadly clashes between the Zionist forces and resistance fighters persist.
Since yesterday, a massacre has been taking place in Jenin, specifically in its camp. The least that other cities can do is support in the way they see fit. The sensitive situation in Al-Quds pushes us to strike in support of our people in Jenin camp. That is the least we can do for our people.
It is indeed a troubling time for the people of the West Bank as they endure a brunt of these relentless incursions, which have resulted in a tragic toll, with 10 people killed and 100 others injured, including 20 in critical conditions. The world watches as tensions escalate and lives are shattered in the largest military operation in the area in 2 decades.
In the same context, in Tel Aviv, a pedestrian or Palestinian carried out a devastating attack on Tuesday using a pickup truck to ram into pedestrians before going on to a stabbing spree. The assault, claimed by Hamas militant group, came in retaliation for the raids in Jenin, which left 8 people wounded. The 20-year-old Palestinian, originally from the West Bank, was neutralized by an armed civilian. Investigation by Zionist media revealed that he had crossed the border without a permit and had no prior record of security offenses. To other news now, Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune delivered a message to the nation as Algeria celebrates the 61st anniversary of Independence and Youth Day on July 5th. Zahra Farjani, brings us the highlights.
Algerian people will celebrate the 61st anniversary of the restoration of national sovereignty on Tuesday. And for this occasion, President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmadjid Tebboune, addressed a message to the nation, praising Algerian independence and Youth Day. President Tebboun's address urged the Algerian people to embrace vigilance and take decisive action, emphasizing the need to break free from dependence and rent-seeking practices. It's a call for a transformative shift towards new patterns that ensure lasting independence.
Today, as we celebrate Independence and Youth Day, we stand united in our collective efforts to transform our nation. We must embrace new ways of thinking, management, and organization, free from dependence and wasteful practices that drain our national wealth.
Recognizing the crucial role of youth in shaping the future, President Tebboune praised their involvement in pursuing national goals and driving both domestic and foreign investments. Their dedication is driving Algeria's growth in this new era.
Our youth, the vanguards of this new era, have fully embraced our goals. We see this in the increase in national and foreign investments, the growing emphasis on hard work, and the rise of entrepreneurship and the knowledge economy. By supporting innovation and youth creativity, we encourage the establishment of small and medium enterprises.
Acknowledging the remarkable achievements of the Algerian army, President Tebboune applauded their contribution in elevating the country to the status it rightfully deserves among emerging nations. Their unwavering commitment has been instrumental in Algeria's progress.
On this occasion, I salute the People's National Army, the descendants of the National Liberation Army, who proudly defend our homeland. We are committed to developing our beloved country through the joint efforts of loyal patriots and the dedication of our youth who are elevating Algeria to its rightful place among emerging nations.
In his concluding remarks, President Tebboune extended heartfelt congratulations to the Algerian people on this glorious day. He expressed his wishes for the nation's safety, security, continuous progress, and prosperity.
U.S. President Joe Biden extended congratulations to Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune and the Algerian people on their 61st anniversary of independence and Youth Day, which falls on July 5th. In his letter, Biden recognized Algeria's contribution to regional and global stability and praised the robust economic and trade relations between the two countries. As Algeria assumes its position on the UN Security Council, Biden expressed eagerness to collaborate in promoting shared democratic values and a common global vision. Algerian President Abdelmadjid Tebboune presided over the annual ceremony at the People's Palace in the capital Algiers on Tuesday, where army personnel were honored with ranks and medals. 12 brigadiers were promoted to the rank of Major General during the ceremony, which was attended by military leaders and officials. The event took place on the eve of the country's 61st Independence Day celebration. President Tebboune was welcomed by Army General Saeed Chengriha, the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, and Lieutenant General Ben Ali, the commander of the Republican Guard. Army Chief of Staff Army General Saeed Chengriha praised the support provided by President Abdelmadjid Tebboune to the military establishment. Chengriha stressed in a speech delivered during President Tebboune's supervision of the ceremony of conferring ranks and awarding medals that this support prompts the army establishment to continue its efforts in modernizing and developing the military system with the aim of protecting the security of Algeria and its borders.
أجدد لكم سيدي الرئيس الجمهورية القائد الأعلى للقوات المسلحة وزير الدفاع الوطني.
Mr. President of the Republic, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, and Minister of National Defense, I renew to you my sincere gratitude and thanks for your continuous support to the military institution. This distinguished support will undoubtedly increase our determination to continue development and modernizing our defense organizations for protecting our security and our vital national interests and defending our land and sea borders and our airspace in all contexts and circumstances.
Algerian Foreign Minister Mr. Ahmed Attaf arrived in Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, on Tuesday for the ministerial meeting of the non-aligned movement. The meeting, scheduled for July 5th and 6th, is hosted by Azerbaijan as part of its current presidency of the non-aligned movement. The objective of the meeting is to facilitate consultation and coordination among member states regarding international and regional issues and challenges. A recent investigation by Mint Press News highlights the alarming depletion of Western Sahara's valuable resources, particularly its oil and gas reserves. The report uncovers agreements that extend beyond military alliances, revealing the exploitation of occupied Western Sahara's natural resources through deals with Israeli and Zionist companies in the hydrocarbon sector.
Those are resources that will be depleted and disappear under occupation before the conflict has been resolved, and that is very worrisome for the Sahrawi people. So the stuff the Zionist companies are doing now is kind of the worst of the worst.
To the latest development in Sudan now, the capital Khartoum and the region Darfur continue to witness ongoing fighting between the army and the paramilitary support forces. Our own Salman Nassib brings us more details on this situation.
Explosions have once again rocked the streets of Khartoum, shattering a brief period of respite after heavy clashes erupted on Sunday between troops loyal to Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. In response, the Sudanese army has declared its readiness to receive and prepare volunteers for the combat. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan issued a call to young men, urging them to join the fight against the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. This appeal comes just days after al-Burhan, in a televised address, called upon capable individuals to support the army, either by enlisting or defending their place of residence.
The youth and all those who are able to participate in the honor of defending the existence and the dignity of the Sudanese people, the commanders of the military units and regions have been instructed to receive and equip the fighters. They must go to the nearest military command or unit.
According to witnesses, artillery fire reverberated throughout the dawn hours, originating from northwest Khartoum and targeting an armored RSF convoy as he moved towards the center and east of the city.
Recently, armed conflicts are still going on. The two sides used various weapons and equipment, such as aircraft, drones, and missiles. I hope that both parties to the conflict will sit at the negotiating table to have a dialogue, reach an agreement, and solve various problems. I hope they can form a coalition government.
It is important to note that the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has reported a staggering number of internally displaced people since April 15. Tragically, the death toll has reached 3,000, with an additional 2.2 million left homeless within Sudan. Furthermore, an estimated 645,000 people have fled across borders, seeking safety, primarily in Chad and Egypt.
In Africa still, Senegal President Macky Sall confirmed on Monday that he will not seek re-election in the 2024 elections, dispelling rumors of potential illegal third term. His decision puts an end to all speculations that has led to deadly unrest since 2021, jeopardizing Senegal's image as a stable democracy in West Africa.
Mes chers compatriotes, ma décision.
My dear compatriots, my decision, long and carefully considered, is not to be a candidate in the next election on February 25, 2024, even though the Constitution gives me the right to do so. Indeed, since the constitutional revision of 2016, the legal debate have been definitely settled by Constitutional Council Decision Number 1, that's 2016 of February 12, 2016.
The UNHCR representative in Turkey, Philip Leclerc, urged the European Union and Mediterranean countries to establish a regional mechanism for sea rescue of migrants and ensuring their safe access to land. Quoting the UN official, the Turkish agency reported that rescuing people in distress at sea is a fundamental principle of international maritime law. Furthermore, the number of displaced persons and migrants due to conflicts and human rights abuses exceeded 100 million people by the end of last year, marking the highest increase ever recorded. EU's envoy, Miroslav Lajčák, said on Tuesday during a visit to Pristina, the European Union will not lift political and economic sanctions on Kosovo if the government does not de-escalate tensions in the north. EU countries imposed punitive measures against Kosovo after Prime Minister Albin Kurti's government failed to comply with requests from the EU and the US to ease tensions in the northern part of the country, which experienced the worst ethnic tensions in over a decade.
Move forward on the 3 points. The European Union has made it clear that it has the sanctions also ready for Serbia and will be implemented if the member states will decide that Serbia is not complying with the request of the European Union.
To Russia-Ukraine file now, the Russian Ministry of Defense revealed the successful prevention of a Ukrainian drone attack on Moscow. At the same time, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed the recapture of territories in the eastern and southern parts of the country, marking progress in their counter-offensive after a week of intense fighting. More with Sofian Kentouri.
In a recent development, a series of Ukrainian drone attacks on Moscow has caused significant concerns. This incident marks the fourth such occurrence within a span of fewer than 2 months, evoking memories of the attempted assassination of Russian President Vladimir Putin in May of last year. The Russian Ministry of Defense confirmed that 5 Ukrainian drones were intercepted as they aimed to strike the capital city and its surrounding areas. According to the ministry's statement, 4 of the drones were successfully neutralized in the new Moscow region, while electronic countermeasures took down another drone in the vicinity of Odintsovo, a Moscow suburb.
Our defense systems destroyed 4 Ukrainian marches in the new Moscow region, and another march was shot down by electronic defense in the Odintsovo region on the outskirts of Moscow.
In response, Olysky Danilov, Secretary of National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, acknowledged the effectiveness of the Ukrainian counteroffensive. He highlighted successful strikes on military assets, including equipment, fuel depots, military vehicles, command centers, artillery positions, and Russian air defense forces.
The last few days were particularly fruitful. The Ukrainian defense forces are destroying equipment, fuel depots, military vehicles, command posts, artillery, and air defense forces of the Russian army.
The international community closely observes the developments, recognizing the ongoing tensions between Moscow's perceived defense of national security and Kiev's pursuit of reclaiming what it considers unlawfully seized territory. The outcomes of the upcoming Vilnius summit, which will determine Ukraine's potential NATO membership, carry significant implications for the ongoing conflict in Ukraine.
The European Union is considering granting financial concessions to Russian banks in an attempt to salvage the Ukrainian grain export agreement. This move comes in response to Russia's skepticism regarding the renewal of the deal, emphasizing the need for progress in implementing the accompanying agreements concerning Russian exports. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg has announced the extension of his term as the head of the military alliance for an additional year. The Norwegian, who has held the position since 2014, confirmed in a tweet on Tuesday that NATO members have decided to extend his tenure as Secretary-General until October 2024.
NATO's newest partner.
The 23rd meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization in New Delhi concluded with member states pledging stronger ties and initiatives. Chinese President Xi Jinping emphasized unity for global peace, while Russian President Vladimir Putin vowed to withstand Western sanctions. For his part, Indian PM Narendra Modi called for decisive action against terrorism. Islam Sid reports.
The 23rd meeting of the Council of Heads of State of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization took place in New Delhi, the capital of India. The summit, according to the organizers, was all about unity, strong ties, and innovative initiatives to drive progress. During his speech, Chinese President Xi Jinping emphasized the crucial need for unity and coordination to bring certainty and positive energy to global peace and development.
The people's wish for a happy life is our goal, and peace, development, and win-win cooperation are the unstoppable trends of the times. We must rise to the call of our times, keep in mind our founding mission, and stay in unity and coordination to bring more certainty and positive energy to world peace and development.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin, in his first international appearance since a brief period of unrest, stressed Russia's unity and its unwavering stance against Western sanctions, but it made it clear that Russia stands firm.
I would like to point out that Russia is confidently resisting and will continue to resist external pressure, sanctions and provocations. In the current environment, our country continues to develop steadily. The Russian people are consolidated as never before.
Meanwhile, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a strong call for action on SCO countries against the global threat of terrorism and its associated activities.
Excellencies, terrorism is a major danger for territorial and global peace. And in order to deal with this challenge, decisive action is necessary. We will have to fight against terrorism, be it in any form of expression.
The Shanghai Cooperation Organization has made important strides in international trade over the past 2 decades. According to China's General Administration of Customs, the SCO's share of global trade has grown from 5.4% in 2001 to an impressive 17.5% in 2020. China has been a major player in this growth, with its exports to other SCO members increasing by over 19 times since 2001. Reaching a staggering $245 billion in 2020. The SCO's collective economic strength, based on World Bank figures from 2021, the combined GDP of the 8 member states accounted for 24.2% of the world's total, or a whopping $23.3 trillion.
In the same context, Iran joined the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to become the 9th member of the group, which seeks to forge stronger relations. During the SCO meeting, Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi said that Tehran wanted to share its experience with the security and political grouping so that its members could move towards a terrorist-free region.
Iran is ready to share its experience and capabilities within the framework of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization so that we can move towards a terrorist-free region. In addition to militarism, what has become the bedrock of the Western domination system is the domination of the dollar. Therefore, any attempt to form a just international system requires the removal of this tool of domination in inter-regional relations.
During the Mercosur summit in Argentina on Tuesday, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Argentine President Alberto Fernandez emphasized the need for Latin American countries to move beyond being mere suppliers of raw materials and assume a new role in international trade. The remarks from the leftist presidents came as Fernandez handed over the temporary presidency of the Mercosur bloc, consisting of Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay, to da Silva.
It's imperative that Mercosur presents a swift and blunt response. It's unacceptable to give up the purchasing power of the state, one of the few instruments of industrial policy that we have left. We have no interest in agreements that condemn us to the internal role of exporter of mineral and oil raw material.
Police in Philadelphia started investigating on Monday night a mass shooting that left 5 people dead and 2 children injured. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Daniel Outlaw announced that a 40-year-old man believed to be the shooter had been taken into custody. The suspect had a bulletproof vest, a police scanner, an AR-style rifle, and a handgun when apprehended. The shooting encompassed several city blocks and left behind dozens of bullet casings.
Officers were able to apprehend the male in the rear alley of 1600 Fraser Street. And when they did, this male was wearing a bulletproof vest with multiple magazines in the vest. He also had a scanner and an AR-style rifle and a handgun.
To a lighter note now, 50 young men and women from the Algerian diaspora are attending the opening ceremony of the 15th edition of the Arab Games hosted by Algeria, taking place from the 5th to the 15th of July. This initiative is part of Algeria's commitment to expanding its efforts in addressing the concerns of its citizens abroad in various fields.
Honestly, we appreciate the initiative, just the fact that we're here in our country, representing our country, back in our soul. It really feels great to be welcomed this way.
Well, that's the end of our program. For more updates, follow us on our social media platforms. I'm Karim Zachary signing off. Take care and stay informed.